So this is the Visual Studio 2012 main screen. As we said, this is where you're going to write your program. And usually your program is something that the users will do something with, like some place where they'll click things and do things. And that happens here. This is a form. They call it a form. And that's basically where you're going to put your buttons and whatever else you want your program to have. You're going to put it all here, and you're going to have those buttons do things that you want them to do. So anyway, this is where the program goes, generally speaking. Okay, so we have, when we open this up, as I said, it's a place to type your code, and it's a place to see what you're doing. And you can see what you're doing here. This is where we put the buttons, as I said, and everything else. And then there's all these other helper windows here. So we have something called the Toolbox here, and we have something called the Solution Explorer here, and we have something called the Properties window here. It's called the Windows Designer form, and this is again the Toolbox window. Okay, one thing is this little thing here. If you click it so that it's pointing down, then this will stay there all the time. If you click it so that it's pointing, I think, horizontally, then when you're not using it, it'll sort of just hide. Okay? And if you don't see these things, you can go to, I think it's either View or Window, I forget which one. You can select the ones that you want to show, and actually you can put them where you want as well. So double-clicking the design window brings up the code editor. So the design window was here. So if you double-click this, now there are no buttons or anything on it, but it doesn't matter. If you double-click it, that's where you actually type the code, your programming code. So if you double-click click there, I get this. And this stuff is still the same, but here I get a place where I can type code. Okay, and it sets it up where it puts this up there and puts this there and puts this there and puts this there, and we'll learn about why those are there and what they'll do. And then the insertion bar is blinking right in here, and you can start typing some code in there. And if you type code that makes sense, then you can get it to do something. And this is called the Code Editor window. The project's current code is displayed here. Note that you can return to the form designer by clicking its tab. So up here, if you just click on here, you'll go back to this view. Okay. So once you double click this thing, like we just did, originally we just had this tab, but once you double click it, you have this. Sorry, which one? This one now as well. Okay, so you can go back to the original form, or you can come back to here by clicking here. Okay, and this is called the output window, and I guess everything else is the same. The output window results, information, and error messages are displayed in here. Okay, so you can check that. Sometimes there'll be something written in red, which is probably an error or a warning.